Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Okay, guys, subhanallah, right off the bat, whilst you read the headlines of this particular article, those of you who are discerning enough will have very quickly understood what the consequences, the ramifications are, and what this potentially alludes to. Now, for quite a while, we've been impressing on our beloved ulama ikram that the shayateen in Ins and Jinn are manufacturing the passages of Ezekiel 38 and 39. When I say manufacturing, this is through a controlled dialectic. For those of you who can't quite grasp what that means, it means that both sides of the conflict are a controlled opposition. In other words, you've got a thesis, you've got the antithesis, and you've got the synthesis. The thesis in this instance would be Russia, Iran, Turkey, and their allies. And then you've got the antithesis, which is Israel, the USA, I guess Europe, and their allies. What's interesting is both sides of the conflict are controlled opposition, and Iblis Lanatullah seems to be at the center of all of this. Unfortunately, we've been building up this case for quite some time now with a considerable amount of evidence. And we had also impressed on our beloved ulama ikram the sort of timelines that they should be looking out for as and when this happens. A winter war was certainly on the cards, and it's a timeline that we had homed in on and certainly felt very strongly about. What's happening right now in Syria with Turkey entering whilst the USA is exiting has a very eerie semblance to the passages of Ezekiel, where there is a vacuum in Syria, and the only parties that are present there happen to be, and historically this hasn't happened, by the way. For any of you who are familiar with your history, you'll realize that historically Russia, Turkey, and Iran together have never been present in Syria at one time. And these passages are clearly stated in Ezekiel 38 and 39, which we've been impressing on our beloved ulama ikram for at least a year, with a considerable amount of evidence to support it along the way. So we built up that case. We came to this conclusion a long time ago, in as much as we came to the conclusion that's already in the science PDF in 2016, and then what we had already forecasted in 2017 for what would happen during the year of 2018. Yet the year hasn't finished, and I'm certainly looking out for more things that will happen. What's happening in the Strait of Hormuz is certainly, again, another thing that we've built up a case towards, that Iran will look to block it, and America will challenge them, and then Iran will attack America. And that will certainly spiral out of control and into a war. They will attack Iran, very likely with nuclear bombs, wallahu alam, and Iran will certainly, with its back against the wall, will fire in all angles within and around its borders, which would be, I guess, the closest proximity is Saudi, we understand, and again we've highlighted and stressed our position that Iran will very likely be the black banners from the east being referred to in Hadith Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. And we need to distinguish between them and the army of Imam al-Mahdi that will come from Khorasan, which is an entirely different, mashallah, contingent and army from this particular hadith. That's our position, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Moving forwards, what's happening right now, you've seen how gold, I've shared that with you guys right now, how it's the prices, certainly everyone's using it as a safe haven. We've impressed that on our ulama ikram to stress on the ummah that they should invest a reasonable amount of their savings. Look, paper money, fiat currencies, again, sadly, our ulama ikram are very, very ill-educated concerning this, but fiat money is haram. There's absolutely no two ways about that. and there ain't anyone who can suggest different, subhanallah. It's unfortunate we've been involved in it, and we've invoked on ourselves as an ummah the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by dealing by extension in riba, subhanallah. Not discounting the fact that the Khilafah from the Ottoman Empire took a loan out which was based on riba, and I guess things just spiraled out of control, and we fell out of favor from our Rabb since, subhanallah. But we continue to do that because we don't understand, I guess, how the monetary system um, functions, and how this money is actually printed, and then the actual vehicle itself, and the, I guess, intricacies and the dynamics around which it's built, subhanallah, is haram. Unfortunately, we're all partaking in it, and again, that lends into the hadith that everyone in the ummah will somehow be tainted by riba. We don't have to go far. All we have to do is study paper money, and you'll come to that conclusion. Now, what I've been impressing in the science PDF is nothing too extreme, but some level of our wealth to be invested in sunnah money, in silver and gold. We've done that continuously. I think we've highlighted out a lot of things, subhanAllah, that the stage of false extraterrestrial contact once they detonate one of these nuclear bombs on any one of the countries. And that's going to be a prelude to Ad-Dajjal and his appearance. Just consider them the ambassadors, as it were, to prime the Ummah into accepting that maybe sentient beings far more advanced in technology and capabilities did in fact clone us, hence why we've been able to do Dolly the sheep. These were all psyops building up to this. They were long-term psyops. In fact, Iblis Lanatullah has been making an effort on the Ummah for a millennia and more, subhanAllah, in preparation for this. It started, from what I understand from my studies and the research, it started all the way back from Nuh alayhi salam, the psychological conditioning, right, and the predictive programming, and then the manipulation of text as well, subhanallah. All leading up to the arrival of a Dajjal. So it's very ajib, subhanallah, and there seems to be huge patterns that are coming together. It's just very sad, right, subhanallah, that we've been very impotent in the face of all of this, done absolutely nothing, made no one aware. I've again impressed on the science PDF that people should move away from the coastlines. They're going to manufacture a tsunami soon on the States, and using again a nuclear detonation below sea level. They've done beta tests. They've done a recent one. We spoke about it a day or so before that. And subhanallah, sometimes I'm afraid of talking about these sort of things because we find that it happens more or less a few days after that, which is a little unnerving, subhanallah. These beta tests are things that it's within their arsenal. They've got the technology, they've got the capability to do it, and they've got the capability of manipulating the weather as well. Now, we've talked about the Revelation 12 passage, which is part of the tsunami is part of that in the States. We'll see an EMP attack on it first in the States. They've already manipulated the weather to cause extreme snow. For those of you who are maybe abreast to what's happening in the States in terms of weather, and that's around the area that they've been dousing with considerable, copious amounts of water, subhanallah, undermining the integrity of the landmass there and eroding it from underneath, subhanallah. So again, which would maybe help them to induce and manufacture Revelation 12, which part of which is the landmass cracking open, subhanallah. So when this huge tsunami wave comes in, this crack would then swallow that water. That's part of biblical passages, but all of that, from what I've been seeing and what we've been archiving and we've been augmenting to support that case, that they are artificially manufacturing this, is what's happening. Right now, they're freezing over the same area again. So, I mean, they're revisiting the same area with floods, with snow. Again, snow is actually water, by the way, guys. So when it does melt, that's exactly what snow converts into, subhanAllah, H2O. And that will again be absorbed by the landmass in the same area. So they're causing the land to contract, retract through freezing it. They're dousing it with water. They'll use their um, uh, directed energy weapons to cause these kind of seismic events. We're seeing a lot. We're going to see a lot more, subhanallah, when this war, this one that we're looking at right now, when this unfolds in Syria, we're going to see a lot more happen, a lot more in terms of seismic activity. We've seen nothing yet. You will want to find a cave to hide in, subhanallah. In fact, you'll be scared of hiding in a cave for fear of it collapsing over you, subhanallah. I don't want to be the harbinger of bad news, subhanallah, but it's frustrating, and I know the ulama ikram who've been subscribed to the science distribution list will appreciate why it is frustrating for me. I have literally gone blue in the face trying to draw your attention for quite a while now. Some of you, at least 2 to 3 years, have been aware of the position that we've postulated in the science PDF, and then augmented and supported it with verifiable evidence, by the way, not just something that we've pulled out from a hat, as it were. Anyway, it is what it is, subhanallah. Let's just see how things unfold, and if we, um, I hope we weren't right, or that we weren't correct, but looking at events as they're unfolding, subhanallah, literally, as we have outlined them, is what seems to be happening in the sequence and in that particular order. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Jazakallahu khairan wa ahsanul jaza for your time. Assalamu alaikum. By the way, it's still not late. You can draw attention to the nasiha that's been outlined in the science PDF, um, as you see fit, to the flocks that are under your stewardship. Jazakallahu khairan wa ahsanul jaza for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.